on the troll.
All right. Hello and welcome back to Mzansi. We are back again. It is that time of the night where we have to talk about what happened in Senzo Meyiwa's case. Isn't it South Africa? You know what? Sometimes you are told I'm just saying hey, what I'm seeing somewhere else and everywhere else, actually, things are just happening around this country. It's crazy. But that being said, as Dalene Bagwetu, where do we finish? We started early today, and I hope that you're going to appreciate that by liking the video and making sure that we are getting them likes, and you are also giving as much as you can give in terms of what you can give, liking, commenting, all those things, interacting with the screen as much as you can. We appreciate it, we appreciate it.
We really do.
Nothing is taken for granted here. We appreciate you, and we take you serious. Right, Emil?
Yeah, today, even though we are early, but it was tricky. It was tricky covering this evidence because I found myself being forced to go to that website and just check coast. Checker. Again, I don't trust anything anymore, especially in any evidence presented by the states. I just feel like, I don't want to be bamboozled. I need to understand. I found myself, Mr. Anonymous, also finding literature and sources to understand ukuthi kanjani, like how does it happen ukuthi umuntu asebenze nge-duplicate FCC number njani, and it goes undetected. I was trying to figure that out. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again for another video. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. This morning when court started, the state was expected to call an official from the LPC, Legal Practice Council, and also the lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gidinda's cross-examination by Advocate Charles Mnisi for accused one was paused as Advocate Mnisi requested the vehicle tracker information, AVL, of the cars that were used during the arrest of accused number one, Umuzia Kalelwa Sbia. He also made a request for Sizwe Zungu and Jabulani Buthelezi to be recalled. So Judge Ratam Khwatleng ordered that information about the cars that were used in the arrest of all the accused before court must be made available, and court started late as proceedings were delayed. Accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi, had not yet arrived in the morning. He came about an hour later, and I was wondering to myself what could have caused this much delay. Advocate Mshololo was still not in court as well, and Advocate Ngumalo said that he will continue standing in for her. And the judge asked what the problem was. The state prosecutor, George Baloyi, said that there was a miscommunication regarding Ntanzi's escort. So the people that are transporting Ntanzi to court, there was a miscommunication. As to what it is, I don't know. Baloyi requested that Gidinda's cross-examination be put on hold pending the furnishing of requested tracker records. He said that as the state, they prepared heads of argument and they are ready to argue the matter, that they will be opposing the application. So Baloyi then asked, but perhaps it should wait for all the documents which were requested, and if new information was to be obtained regarding those documents, that might mean that perhaps the state might have to change its stance regarding the application. Perhaps they might no longer oppose the application, because if there is new information that needs to be placed before court, then the state would be hard pressed to oppose the application. Now, I was like, wow. For the first time in a whole 4 years of covering this case, I have never, ever heard Advocate Judge Baloyi considering that they may have to change their stance when evidence is presented Is he not sure of what Zungu's AVL will say? Should it be brought to light? That's a question. So the media was shocking. So the Baloyi then said the second aspect is that they don't know what the grounds are on which Advocate Mnisi intends to bring the application. Perhaps once he has ventilated those grounds, that might also lead the state to change its stance regarding the application. So he wanted Mnisi to be the first one to present his heads of argument so that they can find a way on how to defend reason as to why Zungu should not be recalled. Okay, guys, excuse me. I just need a moment here. It seems like Mr. Anonymous is distracted because there's feedback coming from here. So I wonder if it's fixed now.
Yeah, it sounds better now. Sounds better.
I did ask about this wire. Okay. It's a bit better now. Sorry, guys. So arguments regarding the application, they said that they should stand down until there is feedback regarding the documents that must be obtained as per court order on Friday. So Advocate Baloyi for the state said that he communicated with some of the defense and they agreed that if the court is so deposed that they should stand down their address until at a later stage. So Brigadier Gininda can rest now for a bit. Akokumoya ati.
Look, you were okay with what you had. I was not okay with what I had. I think it is okay for Mnisi to say, okay, fine. Actually, it's not. I don't think it's okay. I think Mnisi was supposed to submit his heads of argument. Why I'm saying this? Because what this is creating is dependence on what is about to come with an AVL. Now, in a situation, remember what Baloyi said there. If you listen to him carefully, in light of new evidence, that would mean that there must be an AVL evidence for Baloyi and Mnisi to agree that Zungu needs to be called. I think Mnisi shouldn't have created that reliance on an AVL evidence. On the basis of an AVL evidence, then we do call someone if there was AVL. What happens if there's an affidavit? Do we regard that as new evidence? You can ask Zungu about an affidavit that is going to be written by someone else on the basis that there was no AVL fitted in that car. So then what?
Point.
Then because of that, then there's no new evidence. Therefore, even the judge then is going to be inclined to say, no, we cannot recall Zungu. I think it should have been an independent exercise, yes, also including the unforeseen, such as the AVL coming up and then having questions on it, but there should have been more than that. I don't think Zungu should come back because of an AVL only.
What else?
In light of what has been testified about by Bogininde and everyone else, then I think Zungu should come now. Because the order of how these things should have been actually should have been like that. You know? So, okay, I'm okay. Let's see what happens. We'll see where this takes us. But I was a bit disappointed when it comes to that.
Okay. Now I just thought to myself, asilindele AVL. Ngifuna ukubona ukuthi is it going to come or not? Mina ngiyayifuna leyo AVL.
No, it's not gonna come. There's no AVL that's coming.
You even made a bet, Mr. Anonymous. You said if it comes.
It's not gonna come.
Well, Nisi said that the state is spot on because the court would recall that amongst the information that is being requested, there is an AVL record of a vehicle that was used by Mr. Buthelezi. So it would be proper in the circumstances, as the state has indicated, that all the information should be correlated. This would mean that there might be more grounds to bring on the application, or there might even be less ground to bring that application. It would only be fair that they wait for that information and that they also make up their minds on whether or not they still intend to pursue the application with regard to Mr. Buthelezi. So Mnisi said that he did not want to approach the application of the recalling of the witnesses in a piecemeal approach. He said that he didn't want to separate it from the one of Mr. Zungu. So those are his reasons, Mr. Anonymous. To me, I don't have a problem with them, but I see your point where you say that there are other factors. Even Mnisi mentioned them despite the AVL. So Ramasipile and Numalo said that they supported the argument. Now, the next witness that testified was from the Legal Practice Council by the name of Kulani Stanley Sambo. He was in court. Of course, he was also not on the witness list. Remember, we had been told that Brigadier Kininda would be the final witness for the state, but Mr. Kulani Stanley Sambo was called to come and testify on behalf of LPC. Now, Advocate Baloyi said that Sambo's testimony is linked to the confession statement deposed by Ntanzi before Magistrate Grenier. Baloyi handed up the exhibits this witness was going to testify on. He mentioned the confession that was made to Ms. Grenier. That confession statement, the reason why it was included is because it had the FFC number that Mjiyako was using at the time. And Baloyi said that the witness was going to slyly testify on the admission and enrollment of Mr. Mjiyako. He also mentioned the Fidelity Fund certificate. Remember that there was dispute also relating to whether or not Dogozo Mjiyako had a mandate to represent Tanzi and whether he was a practicing lawyer in 2020. That was a big social media thing. I don't remember it being a big deal in court, but with social media, it was a big question mark as to whether Dogozo Mjiyako was practicing in 2020. So apparently Baloyi presented a document dated of 5th of May 2020. Now this document apparently is the one that's confirming Mr. Mjiyako as a lawyer, the one with a fidelity number belonging to another lawyer by the name of Scholz. Advocate George Baloyi said that he wanted to be frank and they only handed those documents to the defense in the morning. So he said he would understand if they wanted more time to go through the documents. I know one thing for sure. If Advocate Mshololo was around, perhaps that time would have been utilized. You understand? But the defense was like, no, we don't need more time. We can just go ahead. Advocate Baloyi went through the affidavit of Mr. Sambo and it was commissioned on the 28th of February 2025. So it's this year. This year, as though the coming to court and Mnisi needing more time was happening, this affidavit was commissioned. He said he wrote the affidavit himself, meaning that he wasn't narrating to a police officer while the police officer was taking it down on his behalf, or somebody else was writing it for him on his behalf. He is the one who wrote it down himself. So he said in the affidavit that he's a legal officer of the Professional Affairs Department working as the record station or working at the record station of the LPC. And he said that he started at the LPC in 2018 as a senior administrator until he was admitted as an attorney in August of 2020. This while still working as a senior administrator. He said that he got a promotion in November 2024 to legal officer at the record center. Now, November 2024, this is last year, as Brigadier Kininda was on the stand. He was getting a promotion. You understand? To the legal officer at the record center. Court was still happening. I don't know whether or not he was thinking about this case or whether he was going to be a witness. You see this case, Mr. Anonymous, it's built as we go. It's built as we go. Pella, I'm thinking about this witness and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, November 2024, you got your promotion to be a legal officer at the record center there by the LPC. And February, here you are writing affidavits, talking about LPC letters of Mjiyako. Life is very interesting. He said that he has access to all the records of admitted legal practitioners in Gauteng. He said he started as an administrator in 2018.
See, I think I wasn't going to talk about that. I thought I wasn't going to talk about that, but I'm kind of forced to actually talk about it now because it's fun, and I'm just seeing something funny.
Yeah.
The guy was promoted on the 2024.
2024 November.
November.
Yes. Remember that time
the letter was sent on the 2024 December.
Which letter?
Mjiyako's letter.
2024 December.
Yes.
Oh yes.
2024 December,
yes.
If I'm not mistaken. It's just things that are funny, the promotions and everything. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, it coincides. It's like, okay, you started here, move now. But it's a
very
good thing. The promotion is a good thing. Congratulations.
Being is a good thing.
We never got to congratulate you. We congratulate you now. In all, congratulations are in order for your promotion. We hope that you do well with your work.
Yes.
It's like literally you've been moving with it. You deal with the issues and then you move further. You get more powers to actually deal with the same case. I was even wondering, the correspondence is only you that I see there. Like, are there no other people? You're the only one dealing with these lawyers.
This whole process of them registering, of them, the letters are sent to you when
I'm saying even Balo, he sends to him. Even Dr. Sibanda sends to him. Even Mjiyako sends to him. It's very interesting.
It's like he's the only one in his department where things just fall on his lap.
You're the only one that exists in that department. But it's a good thing, man. It shows that you're doing your job.
Maybe he is the boss, and you know how it works in South Africa when you have a direct line to a person who's in the senior.
You correspond with that person.
Yes.
But the coincidence is when Mjiyako, who's independent, who are supposed to be also accused number 2's lawyer at some point, also uses that line.
Yes, that's direct line.
If really it was that thing of knowing people at the upper position, very interesting days, as I say. You don't normally get the states and the defense going in one path, one route, one pipe type of situation. That's what I'm just saying, Yeah, but they are colleagues and sometimes they will cross the path. I guess this is the case.
Yeah. He said that his duties were in line with the processing compliance in terms of the attorneys and advocates, which entailed that he needed to assist attorneys in obtaining Fidelity Fund certificates. So, which also included updating of the LPC system in terms of change of address or change of contact details, also ensuring that compliance in terms of practice management training that attorneys have to complete is updated in the system. So Baloyi asked him, after your appointment as the legal officer in 2024 November, what did your duties now entail? So previously, these duties that he was mentioning, they were pertaining to him as a senior administrator at the LPC. Now he's a legal officer And he said he's responsible for all the records of the attorneys and legal practitioners. So now they're asking him, in this new position that he just got in November 2024, what are the duties that he has? And Sambo said that after his admission and also the promotion in November, it included interpretation of the Legal Practice Act, the rules and the code of conduct. It transcended to also be dealing closely with disciplinary departments in terms of compliance for attorneys and trust accounts of advocates that don't have a Fidelity Fund certificate. That also included the overseeing of registration of firms, the closure of firms. When an attorney or a trust account advocate wants to close their firm, it also included in terms of doing affidavits such as the one where he said he could confirm the correctness of the attorney and advocates that they have at the LPC, And I'm thinking, in my opinion, I think they should have also asked him if he had ever testified in a court of law before pertaining to the verification of attorneys and advocates or anything similar to this that has gone wrong before in the system. Is this the matter that he's testifying on now a common thing? Does it happen a lot? Is he called on courts to come and testify pertaining issues like these, where the systems are flawed, where the system duplicates people's FFC numbers? You understand? It will be a very interesting question.
Hey, Yabona, in Pretoria, a lot of things are happening. That side, LPC also is sitting there.
They have a big office in Pretoria.
In Pretoria.
The main office is in Midrand. That's where Sambo, I think, is based.
Yeah, Pretoria is the place to be.
I even heard Ramasipil, as he was asking pertaining the alleged corruption happening at the LPC, was pointing the LPC here in Pretoria. I was like, oh my God. Yes, Pretoria is going down. Well, he said, I have access to records of the LPC Gauteng office relating to all admitted and enrolled legal practitioners in Gauteng, and such records are subject to his supervision. On his records, he said that it would show that the date the attorney or practitioner was admitted, the contact details, cell phone numbers, and addresses of the practitioners. They would also have information of their Fidelity Fund certificates that have been issued historically for their attorneys that practice from their own accounts. This, to me, I want us to highlight it. For me, this was important. The fact that they would also have information of the Fidelity Fund certificates that have been issued historically for the attorneys that practice from their own accounts. This, to me, I highlighted.
Why?
Because Mjiyako appears in 2020 asking for an enrollment certificate in 2020. If he was practicing prior to 2020, he would have access to that information, or Mr. Sambo, according to his description of his job description.
Yes.
So there would also be information pertaining to their trust accounts that they have opened with their chosen bank, their audit history that they have to submit to the LPC. So they have to audit books, money going in, money coming out with the accountant, are the books balancing, are they paying their taxes, all that kind of stuff. Then that also they have access to it. So somebody
did you pick
from
up
his
when Baloyi stopped I don't know if you are there yet. Mjiyako stopped this Sambo guy in the process of saying when Mjiyako was admitted as an attorney on the 26th March 2012. Then Baloyi stops him and he refers him when he was enrolled.
I missed it. I didn't catch it. So give us a picture. What happened?
He stops him to read when the certificate was issued.
So he stops him to read when
he was reading.
What was he reading?
Mjiyako was admitted on that letter, or in that letter that was I think it was to Baloyi or it was to someone else. And then he stops him. He said, please read exhibit so and so, and then he had to read that says Mjiyako was enrolled from the national office on the 5th of May 2020. And then they went back to that.
Oh, yes. I think I got it, but I didn't get it how you got it. I thought maybe they're cross-referencing from the...
This was not different date, it was different dates.
So there was a 2021 and a 2020.
2012. The guy was admitted as an attorney in 2012.
Yes.
But was enrolled in the 5th of May 2020.
Yes, he was. Admitted is when they stand before a magistrate at a high court,
yes,
and they are told that now they are attorneys and they can practice.
Yes.
Enrollment is when you go further now and say, I want to work. Right? So you need a letter that you can show to your clients, you can show whenever you are being asked of it, when you appear at court. He hasn't been asking for that letter. That's what I understood from the situation, that since 2012, Mjiyako had not asked for the enrollment letter so that he can practice.
It's like having a degree and not using it.
Yes, it's like having a degree and not using it. And when you look at his history based on articles and stuff where he pops up, he was a captain at the SAPS, and then at some point it says he worked at the Joburg municipality or something like that. So it seemed like he had the law degree. He got the law degree at VETS, and then he got admitted in 2012, and then he just didn't practice. He didn't have that enrollment letter.
Yeah.
And then he went and asked for it in 2020. And the date is very interesting, eh? I had been meaning to mention that date he asked for the enrollment.
5th May.
5th of May 2020. And mind you, Bontanzi were apprehended. Sibia was apprehended in 30th of May. And then Tanzi, 16th of May, the following month, literally the following month, Mjiyako now is working on this case. A month after asking for his enrollment letter.
Very interesting, and that's the question that is open to everyone, if anyone can answer it. If Mjiyako was not practicing as legal aid, how would have Ntanzi known Mjiyako then?
I'm trying to figure that out.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. You just enrolled on the 5th of May, and then someone who's in jail, who was not in Joburg, by the way, knows you all of a sudden.
He was in Rustenburg in Tanzi. And then he gets arrested, he gets moved from pillar to post, police station to police station.
In that process, he thinks about you.
He sends you a please call me.
That's a form of communication.
An alleged please call me. Let's call it an alleged please call me. Right?
And so this very same dance, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere he was on a call with other accused for hours.
For hours.
But he couldn't call you.
To call his lawyer to say, come and help me.
He couldn't call you. He only could send you a police call. All those calls that are made to, or that are said to be calls, it's communication actually, not even calls. It's wrong to say it's calls. It's communication.
It's communication.
Calls something else. I don't know why they let it be on a record when Baloyi kept on saying all those calls.
It's communication.
It's communication, which is not even an SMS. It's a please call.
Please call me. But at the receiving
of
that
please call me's, they don't have calls in them. That's funny.
He knew exactly where to find Tanzi from a please call me.
And he knew that Ntanzi wanted him to come. How many times did he visit Ntanzi? It's not in line with the police calls, if I think of it. These calls are more. The visit are few because of OB entries. The
OB entries have to show whether he was consulting with Ntanzi or not. So the audit history that they have to submit to the LPC, Sambo read from his affidavit that advocate Dominic Mjiyako was admitted as an attorney by the Gauteng Division of Pretoria High Court on the 26th of March 2012 at Pretoria High Court. Yeah, it's a very, very nice coincidence that I also noticed that he was admitted at the very same court where Advocate Baloyi has been a prosecutor at for years, for many, many, many years. There's also an enrollment confirmation letter dated the 5th of May 2020, which confirmed in 2020 he was on a roll of practicing legal practitioners. So here I'm going to just make a little bit of a speculation here. So it means that he went to LPC to still check whether he could still practice as an attorney, and they printed him his enrollment letter. This is just before June of 2020, and Tanzi is arrested on the 16th of June 2020. The timing of it all. So all these years, he didn't need this enrollment letter. He only starts needing it in 2020 May.
Yeah.
And mind you, at this time, he has a firm. I don't know when the firm was opened, but he has a firm. Right? He has a legal firm that is operational, has a phone, everything, address. So Mjiyako's title on the 5th of May 2020 was that of an attorney. He had not yet converted into enrollment of being an advocate. The purpose of this enrollment letter, Sambo confirmed that it was to show at the time on the 5th of May 2020 to show that he needed or he is indeed a practicing attorney. This letter is used by practitioners to either gain access to a court of law or for them to consult with their clients that have been incarcerated or arrested. So, if he has a firm, has he been talking to clients without an enrollment letter prior to 2020, the 5th of May?
That would be very interesting. Those are questions that you ask yourself. I can't find. You see, this is one clear confusing thing. Not confusing. It is just not clear.
It's a rabbit hole.
Just not clear.
So the question now is, how did he not need his enrollment letter before, provided that he had a firm? So Sambo said that it can also be used as a form of verification to their client that the attorney at the time is indeed on the practicing role with LPC. Baloyi asked that besides the enrollment letter, is there any other form of identification that is used for legal practitioners? And Sambo said yes, there are ID cards which bear the details, including membership number or practice number of that specific legal practitioner. Baloyi asked him if the Fidelity Fund certificate number appears on the ID card, and Sambo said it would not be appearing on the ID card. He said the ID card will only contain the names, if they are practicing or not, as well as the picture of that attorney. The reason for that is that there are practitioners that are entitled to that card that don't have their own firms and do not have their own firms and do not practice from their own account. So this is to cover that gap, I guess, this question. To cover that gap as to why from 2012 he didn't need an enrollment letter.
So he had a card?
He was only working with a card, I would assume.
Is that what they are saying?
That's what this question, Mr. Baloyi is ahead. You understand? He covers this leaking bucket. Alleged leaking bucket, he will cover it. So I'm now that I'm looking back, I'm seeing that this question was to cover that gap where he didn't need an enrollment letter to try and say that.
Is it there on the evidence that was presented?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. But he's trying to make us think that, he didn't need an enrollment letter. I find it hard to believe that you qualify 2012, that must mean that you have another job that you're working and you're not practicing as a lawyer. What would be the reason why you don't go and fetch your enrollment letter? That means there's a job that you're having, and when you look back, there's SAPS where he's called the captain and something like that. So Sambo shared the details of Mjiyako's firm as well, and Mjiyako's attorney, it was called Mjiyako Attorneys Incorporated. So now I'm now recalling that after the adjournment it was no longer Mjiyako Attorneys Incorporated. It was Mjiyako Mpahlele Attorneys Incorporated. And I'm bothered by this because when I looked up Mjiyako's firm, it was Mjiyako Attorneys Incorporated. It was not Mjiyako Mpahlele.
Is that not part of the surname names whatsoever? Isn't it one person?
When you add a partner or something, you call that firm with the multiple surnames.
Also, Mjiyako is a surname also?
Yes, Mjiyako is his surname.
Okay.
And then Mpahlele is a surname also. So that Mpahlele must be a partner of Mjiyako in this firm. But I'm confused because when we went online sometime last year, it was Mjiyako Attorneys. It wasn't Mjiyako Mpahlele Attorneys Incorporated. So now, which one is which? Is it Mjiyako Attorneys or Mjiyako Mpahlele Attorneys? Which one is it? Because right now, I feel like this bucket has many holes and iyavuza and it keeps being blocked ngesalo tape or something so that it doesn't leak.
I don't want you to go there.
Okay. It's my speculation. It's how I feel. It's how I feel. Okay. He also shared a practice number, which is 18209. He said the firm is based in Gauteng. The role was that of partner or director. The certificate was issued in 2020. So if it was issued before, it would definitely have shown on their system. It was only issued in 2020. So Sambo said that Mjiyako in 2020 was practicing as an attorney for his own account. He had his own firm. He was the director at the firm, and it was registered as an incorporated. Sambo continued reading from the affidavit, and he said that he was granted permission by the Legal Practice Council to convert his enrollment as an attorney to that of an advocate, practicing without a trust account on the 6th of July 2021. So he was admitted as an attorney, an advocate, practicing without a trust account.
So listen here, carefully. 2021, 6 July. Continue.
Now I'm asking myself, it's 2020, he gets admitted as an attorney.
But you have killed that argument because you have said maybe the card was there to kill that. Maybe then, let's say he was practicing without a card, with a card.
And then immediately 2021, he's admitted as an advocate.
Exactly. If he was using a card,
doesn't it take 2 years?
If he was using a card on the other side before the letter?
Doesn't pupillage take 2 years?
I'm saying you said there could have been a card.
So how did he do pupillage?
Do you need that letter?
Yes, there must be evidence of you having done pupillage. You must have been under a firm. I think it's a firm that you have to be under. But those who are legal minds can correct me.
I'm saying you are basing it on the basis that the letter was issued at a certain time.
2021.
But he could have been practicing all along.
There's nothing wrong with him practicing.
He could have been working, he could have done that 2013 or something. I'm just...
No, but he was in the SAPS around that time as a captain. You see where I'm confused and stuck.
I'm also confused because you brought that card thing in and you said...
No, I'm only noticing now as I'm covering the case, but when I was listening throughout the day, I didn't see this card thing and I didn't take it seriously. It's only now that I'm going through it with you guys again that I'm noticing, oh my God, why would he ask about the card? You understand?
Exactly.
So Balwe then said, what does practicing without a trust account entail? And Sambo said in terms of his conversation, or in terms of his conversion, he converted to a referral advocate without a trust account, meaning that monies from clients cannot be deposited into that account. Trust account practitioners only practice with that, but in terms of his record, seeing that he wants to be a referral advocate, he's not entitled to Fidelity Fund certificate and receive monies in his trust account. So now another question I have is, what account did he use prior to being an advocate? So Sambo read a letter from their office, the Gauteng Provincial Office, which was drafted on the 21st of October 2023, addressed to Dr. Sibanda. Dr. Sibanda.
Yeah.
So this letter was coming from the Gauteng Provincial Office. And they were responding to Sibanda. And they're responding to Sibanda when? The 21st of October, 2023. This is like a year before last year. This is like over a year ago. And he said, I hereby confirm that according to the records held by the LPC, Advocate Dominic Mjiyako was admitted as an attorney by the North Gauteng Provincial Division of the High Court Pretoria on the 26th of March 2012 and was granted permission by the LPC on the 6th of July 2020.
Now,
what happened to the 5th of May
Pause there. Admitted as an advocate at 6 July 2020, which I strongly, my opinion, believe that all these things happen in 2020. The advocate thing happened, because I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because if you remember, there was a lady who was standing for Mjiyako there. What did that lady call Mjiyako for? An attorney, right?
Yes.
She was an attorney, instructing attorney to Mjiyako.
Yes.
2020. That was 2020.
There was a lady at the Boksburg Magistrate Court for the bail hearing of the 5 accused.
So it couldn't have been 2021 then, if that is the case. It couldn't have been that Mjiyako was convicted as an advocate in 2021.
Kanti kwenzakalani? Lama date lawa wafana.
And then that would mean in 2020, if it happened in 2020, I believe the 2020 more than I believe the 2021 that I've heard many times.
Because he said 6 July 2021 and 5th of May 2020 is when he was practicing as an attorney. He asked for the enrollment letter.
But then 6 July 2020, he's an advocate.
He's converting from being an attorney to an advocate.
But in most of these letters, they're saying 2021. But if you remember very well, 2020, at some point, he was addressed as what? Advocate,
Advocate,
right?
In that court.
Yeah.
I remember. They addressed him as an advocate, Mjiyako.
That would be scary, because that would say now that this Muzi, Ndanzi, then was instructing that attorney of a lady. And how would that have happened? Because
with no communication,
you can't be addressing an advocate as a client. Then that is why maybe the 2021 thing is showing up. I don't know which one is a mistake, but I'm just chilling here and digesting this whole information. It's difficult. It's very difficult to go through it. And what is funny, Sibanda writes they get this letter from the provincial office on the 31st of October 2023.
Yes.
Confirming Mjiyako as an attorney. But Mjiyako writes a letter on 2024 out of confusion.
Another one of 2024, Kyang. What is it for?
It's because Skulls was complaining that they're sharing the same number, fidelity number.
Yo.
So, in a sense, Mjiyako or Ndanzi could have tried to call Skulls.
Yes.
And then he got this Mjiyako. Let's say he did.
Let's assume.
Let's for argument's sake.
Let's create a picture. Maybe Ndanzi meant to call Skulls, Yabon.
But how do you file with fidelity numbers that are same and no one notices that? It's crazy how this.
But it's impossible.
How do you file?
It's a big fat no.
With fidelity number and finish the whole year? No one says.
I don't know if I can read it here. They are saying no such is possible. As in, it's not me. It's not me.
Yo, I will rough it.
Hey.
So you use a wrong number.
Nance, can the Legal Practice Council of South Africa issue duplicate Fidelity Fund certificate numbers? They say no. The Legal Practice Council of South Africa does not issue duplicate Fidelity Fund certificate numbers. A Fidelity Fund certificate number is a unique identifier issued to eligible legal practitioners who practice for their own account, for example, as sole practitioners, partners, or directors of law firms, and are therefore entrusted with client money. The FCC is crucial as it signifies that the legal practitioner is covered by the Legal Practitioners Fidelity Fund, which protects the public against financial losses due to theft of trust money by legal practitioners.
So they were sharing.
Here's why duplicate numbers are not issued and why uniqueness is critical. Should I go through it?
Go through it.
Unique identifier. The FFC number serves as a unique identifier for each legal practitioner who is authorized to handle trust funds. Just like an ID number or a passport number, it is specific to one individual for a particular period. Regulatory control and accountability. The LPC and the Legal Practitioner Fidelity Fund use these unique numbers for regulatory control, tracking, and accountability. It allows them to maintain a precise record of who holds a valid certificate for which period and for which practice.
And they change each and every year, right?
They change every year.
So if you are no longer qualified to be a lawyer, then you are discarded.
Out. Yes, you are out. You no longer renew.
So we are in a situation where a whole lawyers practice using that number.
Two of them. At the same time.
So they could be sharing money or anything.
Accounts.
The accounts, because how was the filing there?
Of firms, because here they're saying there's a difference. Another lawyer could be running as a sole practitioner. Other lawyers are partners, are in a partnership. You understand? So it's different. You can now have one practice number in which one is allocated for a sole proprietorship, and then another one is it's the same number allocated for a partnership. They're saying that's not possible.
What is also funny?
What is also funny?
Mjiyako, when he wrote that letter in 2024, he then says to LPC, Scott complains that he stole his identity, his fidelity
FFC number,
a number, and then he says he complained to LPC too. But this guy of LPC comes here and
empty-handed. Where's the complaint, dear Scott?
He says he doesn't know if there was ever a complaint of that nature. Does Scott exist? as a person?
Called a ghost.
Is it there? Like, can we see? Like, honestly, I would like to see Skoltz in that court.
They need to recall her.
They need to call.
They need to call her to come and testify for herself.
I wanna hear what process. You see the process that she took, the criteria she used. So it's like, you stole my identity. I'm going to
write you an email
and say, hey, I call you, or you are doing fraud, Deja. This is my number.
We're talking about a legal practitioner who's a female, who's probably of no color here.
Don't you follow the right path? Maybe police involved and everything else?
No affidavit.
Nothing. Just like, hey, colleague, I know you are okay, you are a colleague, but you're using my number. Was that how it went? Like, hey,
colleague, I just found out that you have duplicated my FCC number. Can you please sort it out, please? That is the most nonchalant lawyer I have ever heard.
Yeah.
It's impossible. I can't imagine a female. You know how female lawyers resemble? They resemble a certain aura. Do you understand what I'm saying? I've seen some of them. They you just look at them and you can say,
she's based in Bloemfontein.
You can't mess with them. So how did this happen? She's based in Bloemfontein.
Practicing, right?
Is she still practicing?
If she is, can she visit our court?
Please.
We would just like to hear.
Please, we want to hear that experience.
We want to hear how it happened, man. It's very interesting, and I think we must give her flowers for being nice after realizing that
she was too nice.
She could have a twin,
that is her money right there.
A twin fidelity number. She was very nice, and she dealt with it in a nice way.
Very
writing.
Quiet way. She dealt with it in the most quiet, nicest way ever. And I'm like, wow, I really need to see this person. I need to hear from them.
Because some of us, when we face such things, we panic.
Yes.
And we go police
station, and we make affidavits, even though we know there's a possibility that we may not get our stuff back if they've been stolen, but we just go, because what can we do? We panic. You can't just sit.
I guess being a lawyer, you are always relaxed. You're like, hey, bro, you could have stolen my stuff there.
Well, allegedly. Well, he said his legal practitioner number is 31584, and the document was signed by Mrs. M.M. Chadwick, Senior Legal Officer of Professional Affairs. Advocate Mjiyako was in possession of a Fidelity Fund certificate for the year 2020 due to a bona fide technical error on the FFC portal. The certificate number was a duplicate FFC 4415 of 2020. By the way, this is the very same FCC number that he gave to Ms. Grenier.
So, on the face of that, in front of Ms. Grenier, there's Mjiyako sitting there. Because there's no verification system, did she say she verified?
I don't remember her testimony. But now that I'm looking at this...
She said she verified.
Did she say she verified?
She asked for an FCC number, right?
She spoke of it in terms of taking the FCC number.
Now, what did she get?
Verifying.
What did she get then from taking that number? So she was able to just say, oh, this one's correct.
I can't get over Miss Grenier saying that the reason why she recorded that whole confession is because she didn't feel safe. Do you remember that part of... And I wanted them to kind of explore more to see if she will open up of exactly what was she scared of that made her press the record button of that entire process. What did she see? What did she notice? But I'm sure she wasn't going to say anything. But it wouldn't hurt to have tried their luck. But I'm imagining ukuthi Miss Grenier probably saw that FCC number and checked. There's no way she didn't. Allegedly, I'm gonna speculate.
Anyone can check that nonsense.
I'm going to speculate and say she had a laptop with her. So she checked. And she's like, oh my God, this guy doesn't look like Skulls. And then that's when she started hitting the record button.
Is that why? Just...
I'm just imagining. Remember, she couldn't give a reason why she recorded the confession. She was just like, I didn't feel safe. So can you imagine, guys? Can you imagine? Just checking there. I just learned today to check that FCC number, and I'm sure she knows because it's not rocket science. It's not. You just go to the website, you go, and I'm sure she checked. That's my speculation. And it's like, you don't look like a skull. There's no way. What the heck is going on? What am I here for?
I hope Herman is still there. I hope Herman is still there. Herman, I hope you are still there by Fidelity, my bro.
Hi, Herman. Help us understand.
Because you've got to come. I just want to understand one thing. This is system generated number. So your system is capable of creating a duplicate.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. A whole systems developer needs to come and explain to us if that even happened at all. We need to understand.
I want an incident report. It will be very interesting. What did you find when you were looking and checking your investigation? What did you see? Why was there a duplicate according to your report? What created that duplicate? Did the system forget everything that was on the system for time being and then created new numbers and then it forgets everything? Because you would assume a system like that, it keeps on checking all these numbers. The whole year.
It took Mrs. Skoltz to find out and then send an email to Mjiyako that, hey, you're using my FCC number.
The whole year. That
you guys there at Fidelity Fund did not see this. Your system, the way is so flawed. According to this evidence, it couldn't pick up that there are duplicate FCC numbers. You need to come and explain that. His Fidelity Fund certificate for the year 2020 was FCC 13911/2020. Now, Advocate Baloyi asked Sambo to elaborate, and Sambo said that the Fidelity Fund certificate number that was issued to Mr. Mjiyako was a duplicate of another Fidelity Fund certificate that belonged to a different practitioner than him. So the initial FFC number was FFC 4415 of 2020 for the year ending 31st of December 2020. So this FCC was going to end or ended in December of 2020 after the 5 accused appeared for their bail hearings at the Boksburg Magistrate Court. This is the duplicated one, the 4415 of Miss Skoltz. So the date...
And Miss Skoltz, no. Miss Skoltz is like, no. I'm not going to see you in 2020. I'm gonna file. I'm not gonna see you in 2023. Oh, wait. Was it 2020? I'm not gonna see you in 2021. It's fine. I won't see this. I won't see this in 2022. It's okay. I won't see this.
I'll see
then
that
2023. I won't see this. I remember this expired 2020, and then 2024.
Then Miss Skoltz.
Then Skoltz is like, hey, chief. We were twins by 2020. What were you doing with my number? What were you doing with my number? And then guess what? The system, what is funny now is the system. The system goes back and creates a new number and say, this is Mjiyako 2020. And when the system does that, doesn't it nullify everything that was done under that number by Mjiyako?
It does. It does. It's wiped out. It's nullified.
So Mjiyako, so here's the question, just a general question. Here's an accountant.
Yes.
He audits your books.
Yes.
And then a year later or 2-3 years later, you find out he was using a wrong license. And there were mistakes upon that editing. What should happen? Who should bear the risk? Because the systems are there. You were supposed to verify it. You do verify whether this accountant is legit according to what you are seeing on that system. And then you gave him your books and you say, audit my books. After they audit my books, there are few mistakes. In this case of Dance is saying, no, I never mandated this person. And then upon checking Baloi, they see Utaibu or Mjiyako says, Utaibu, I actually was using wrong numbers because there was a lawyer practicing under that number, fidelity number. Yeah, this is a doubt that has already been casted to say that this person was never my lawyer. So now, not only this person was not your lawyer, he was practicing under someone's fidelity number.
Fund certificate number.
So now what is the remedy for that? Because you can call the LPC, they can go and request the fidelity fund to rectify this and create a new number, which is there, is 13911, if I'm not mistaken. 139, I'm even thinking I'm getting it from my head. 11/2020. It is like that. Now it is rectified. For what good reason is it rectified? What is it gonna achieve? The damage is already done. Mjiyako went on with this number.
How about the account? The account that was linked to this number, that was a duplicate. Why the details are not showing, and why is LPC not investigating this duplicate situation? Why LPC didn't investigate as soon as it showed up that there was a duplicate? So they said that the date was issued to the 24th of February 2020. The FCC number was FCC 04415/2020. Now, Sambo is asked to read the Fidelity Fund certificate number on Tanzi's confession, and he compared it to the records, and it had the FCC number of 04415/2020. So Sambo confirmed that it's the same number as reflected on their records. Sambo continued to tell the court that the Fidelity Fund certificate shows that it was issued to Mr. Mjiyako in terms of the application process that was done with LPC in an online application that the attorney has to apply for that certificate and be issued with that from their system with the Fidelity Fund certificate. So Sambo has now referred to an email of a complainant that they received pertaining a Fidelity Fund certificate. Now, this letter that is a complainant coming from a complainant was addressed to Advocate Baloi, not the LPC.
Which letter?
To me, it's very confusing.
Which letter?
He was referred to an email of a complaint that they said receiving pertaining to a Fidelity Fund certificate, and it was addressed to Advocate Baloi. It said, I hereby confirm to the record held by the Legal Practice Council, Advocate Dominic Ntokozo Mjiyako was admitted as an attorney by Gauteng Division of High Court, South Africa on the 26th of March 2012. He was granted permission by the Legal Practice Council to convert his enrollment as an attorney to that as an advocate practicing without a trust account on the 6th of July 2021.
The 9th December letter.
I don't know the date.
I think it's the 9th December, the 9th of December, 2024. The letter was addressed to Baloyi. I hereby affirm.
Yeah, that's the letter.
And guess who's dealing with it?
Who?
Samborino.
Advocate Mjiyako was in possession of a Fidelity Fund certificate for the year 2020 due to a bona fide error.
It's a bona fide error.
The certificate number was duplicate FFC 4415/2020. Sambo read where the FC number was FFC 04415/2020. It was on the letter, and he said it was a typing error from his office. He said the number can be verified on the public systems. He said the number looks similar to the one that he has, and the error has been rectified. His fidelity number is now FFC 13911/2020.
Does that? You know what this is doing?
What is it doing?
It is rectifying the record and the number that was presented to accused, which was
accused number 2.
But it's not changing there. It just changed on the system. It is not changing there.
On the
I
confession.
hope that they are still going to argue that on the basis, because they did not ask for this. Baloyi introduced it.
Yes.
Now there's a lot of wishy-wishy.
For a
letters
duplicate
that are supposed to be
FFC number that is not of Ntanzi's doing will render these confessions inadmissible.
Exactly. Which was supposed to happen on a trial within a trial if everything was revealed properly. We wouldn't be here, right? But see sharp equivalent to see color see.
Pella, this situation would have rendered that confession of Ntanzi inadmissible, honestly speaking. What is a lawyer with a duplicate doing representing someone who's going to make a confession? Worse, where are their instructions?
When are things in that law fraternity? When do they start calling things fraud there?
I don't know. I'm looking at all of this. I'm like, okay.
People are cordial with each other. They're like
it's normal practice. Like this is something that happens every day.
I would have panicked and called you, hey, Emil, we are a fraud. You are using my stuff. You're frauding. In fact, I'm coming with the police. I'm coming with the van.
I made my affidavit at the police station or commissioner of Old Civil. They know, they are learned friends. You can always get another lawyer who's got the commissioning of Old thingy. Write an affidavit, go straight to the court and charge somebody with fraud. They will be getting summons.
I mean, your fidelity is okay, but jail event. Because we have a book straight. Because your notice system is
because a court. I wasn't gonna even want to talk or face and meet with you because at this point I'm kind of scared.
Look at this.
I'm scared of you.
Look at this. What is fun about this thing? I don't know if you catch that part or you're still gonna go through that part. This letter was issued on the 5th of May when it was 04415,
yes,
right?
Yes.
5th of May.
Yes, 5th of May.
Did you notice the date changes?
It did. It changed
after
to the
it was
6th
changed.
of July 2020.
No, you didn't catch it. You didn't.
Where did it change?
It said 24 February 2020. Yes. When the number was rectified. So the system rectified even the date. I don't know. I was asking myself, did the system rectify even the date?
Oh my God. A lot is going on here.
There's a lot going on here. It's like you're chasing your tail. Like you're chasing your tail. Like I'm telling you.
Joe, a lot is going on here. Yarr. So Sambo said that on the email from Advocate Mjiyako directed to their office, the subject said complaints by Mrs. Scholz, FFC 04415-2020. So let me get this straight as well. So Mrs. Scholz sent Mjiyako an email instead of going and doing an affidavit at the police station.
On the day when we don't know when.
The date we don't know. In fact, what's even more interesting is that they don't give the full names of Scholz. They knew Tina Abapapai will want to know and go look her up. Ngampela, but hi, basincisha ma initial, basincisha all of her names. And they only give us a surname, but to Mrs. Scholz.
I see Bamba Ngailo Kuzana, the Fidelity Fund certificate number.
So the email read, the above matter, as well as our telephone conversation earlier this morning, refers, thank you so much for taking my call. As mentioned during our telephone conversation during 2020, I was issued with a Fidelity Fund certificate number FFC 04415-2020 by the LPC, issued on the 24th of February 2020. This is the change now, Mr. Anonymous, you were referring to.
Exactly.
So we moved from the 5th of May 2020
that's 139
to the 24th.
It changed the date. I was not dreaming. I'm glad you captured, because I thought I was dreaming.
So Sambo
So the system
continued
is
reading,
rectifying everything.
where it said that a complaint has been launched against Mjiyako with the LPC by Mrs. Scholz, basically alleging that the above FFC was issued to her, therefore accusing him of fraudulently presenting it as his. He said that he is not sure how that could be the case, and he humbly requested the assistance of the LPC to have this issue clarified. He said they should see the copies attached of Ms. Scholz's complaint, his response, and the FFC in question with other relevant documents. Unfortunately, he said that he was unable to find the link that he used when he applied for the 2020 FFC.
What, are they supposed to keep the link? Huh?
I don't know.
What was the link gonna do? Does it keep the history when you applied?
I don't know, because when you
A
have
link.
applied, you enter the number, the FCC number, and then it shows you. It shows you how you are registered as an attorney.
No, I'm saying, what does the link have to do with everything? It's a link, Mos. You get in there, you apply, you close. You apply where you need, so you get in there, you apply, you close. You can apply anywhere. Why forgot the link? Why that?
I'm just wondering if the LPC has records of Mjiyako when he first applied in 2020 and ended up with this duplicate FFC number. Can that trail be?
No, that's not gonna be LPC, Mos. That's gonna be Fidelity that should explain to us. Hey, Fidelity should explain to us.
So Mjiyako was accused of fraudulently using the FFC number, and he sought intervention and clarity directly from the LPC. He went to the LPC, not the Fidelity Fund, LPC. So as to explain what the situation here was, Sambo said that it seemed there were two Fidelity Fund certificates issued with the same number, and he said
Who
that
was
upon
getting
receipt,
paid between the two of them? Did anyone lose money at some point?
that would be interesting to find out, which is why I'm very interested in knowing which account did Mjiyako use under this FFC duplicate of 04415.
But we don't know if Mjiyako was actually getting paid in any case, because Ntanzi says he never financially paid this man. Did he say that right?
Yeah, he did. He said that upon receipt of his email from Advocate Mjiyako, he proceeded to contact the system developer from the Fidelity Fund offices to proceed to check the duplicate in terms of the numbers for this Fidelity Fund certificate that was issued to Mr. Mjiyako and Ms. Scholz. He said the issue was then resolved in that the number of FCC 004415 of 2020 was then rectified to show the correct number in terms of the system they have with the LPC and the Legal Practitioners Fund. Well, to me, I was kind of blown away about how this man receives this whole report that there's a duplicate, and he doesn't launch an investigation or anything within the LPC. He just goes directly to the Fidelity Fund, finds the system person there. All of these lengths that he went to are kind of amazing.
The question is, or should have been, what is the process?
What is the process that should be followed? Because it's rather strange going directly to FFC and then wanting to know what the problem is and then solving it, and after just quietly like that. I don't know a company that works like that.
The number is fine now. It's 139. I'll keep on writing the letters for those who are inquiring to explain the situation. Might as well create a spam out of that. Just every time you say Mjia,
wow.
Every time you say Mjia, but Mjiyako was 04415/2020, but remember, they were sharing it with Scots. So we therefore created Mjiyako's new number, which was then dated back on the 24 February 2020. Don't worry about everything. It's okay. That's how it is. Create a spam SMS or an automatic reply. When you say Mjiyako, oh, there you go.
So the number that appeared for Mr. Mjiyako at the time after the correction is FFC 13911/2020 with the same issue date of the 24th of February 2020, which is the one they gave to the initial duplicate of 04415. So now it's the 24th of February 2020 again with this new Fidelity Fund number or Fidelity Fund certificate of 13911. I don't know if I caught it correctly. So it's something that I'm like, So he had the corrected the Fidelity Fund certificate, and he said that after consultations and engagements with the system developers at the Fidelity Fund, they corrected the number from FFC 04415 to FFC 13391/2020. So Sambo now went to a letter dated the 10th of December 2024, which was addressed to Advocate Dominic Mjiyako. It said, "Dear Advocate Mjiyako, I hereby confirm that according to the records held by LPC, Advocate Mjiyako was admitted as an attorney by the Gauteng Division Pretoria High Court on the 26th of March 2012. He was granted permission by the LPC to convert his enrollment as an attorney to that of an advocate practicing without a trust account," and then it went back to the 6th of July 2021. Advocate Mjiyako was in possession of a Fidelity Fund certificate for the year of 2020, and due to a bona fide technical error on the FCC portal, the certificate number was a duplicate of FFC 4415/2020, and the error had been rectified. His Fidelity Fund certificate number is FFC 13911/2020, and the letter was signed by Ms. K.S. Sambo, Legal Officer, Professional Affairs. So Baloi handed up a document during the testimony of Pinky van Tillingem, a letter from LPC dated the 20th of June 2024. It said, "Dear Advocate Baloyi, I confirm that the firm Mjiyako Mphahlele Attorneys Incorporated with practice number F18209 is registered as a firm of attorneys on the roll of the Gauteng Provincial Office of the LPC. The details are recorded as following: Mjiyako Mphahlele Attorneys." Then they gave the PO box address there, which is in Braamfontein. A physical address is in Melville, Johannesburg 2092, and they also gave 2 separate telephone numbers. The other one is 07903976605, and the other one was 0865118901. The email mjiyakodn@gmail.com, and it had the signature of Mr. VL Maluleke, Legal Officer, Professional Affairs. So, yeah, guys, after the long adjournment, Baloyi went to the proceedings of the 21st of June 2024, where the cell phone records of Bongani Ntanzi were deliberated, confirming Mjiyako's number to be 0609016890. That is said to have made contact with Ntanzi's number, this "please call me" number. Then there's a reference of 10092020180149, which was made by the cell phone of Ntanzi of 0710397605, and the call description was PCM, meaning "please call me." So the number shows sending a "please call me" and other calls to a number that Sambo confirmed is reflected in their records. So Baloyi clarifies that Ntanzi's number made contact with a number belonging to Mjiyako. It sent Mjiyako a "please call me." But Mjiyako did not call Ntanzi back from a "please call me." He knew exactly where to find Ntanzi. If he says he was called...
You want to know the funny thing?
Yes, I'm listening.
Ntanzi says, "I did not have my phone."
Yes.
He couldn't even call his sister.
Yes.
To ask for bathing things.
Yes.
He couldn't.
Yes.
But if we go by the theory of this case, it's alleged that the sister is the one who called Mjiyako, right?
That is what Ntanzi said in his testimony, that Mjiyako told him that Usisi is the one who called him.
Okay. That's what Mjiyako said.
Yes.
Allegedly.
To Ntanzi, allegedly.
And
he was passing.
How then does Ntanzi start sending these calls to someone they've never met before? And they couldn't have gotten the number from the sister, because then it was gonna be easy for Ntanzi to tell the sister to bring something, to bring
toiletries.
Ubuthelezi wasn't gonna see that Ntanzi who was smelling. It just doesn't
explain
make sense.
To everyone, family, where I am. They must be worried sick where I am.
Please call ex-girlfriend now. Please call, you don't call, you ignore.
He knows the family of this person that he's never met, but doesn't know the numbers. He can't recall the numbers of his sister, the numbers of his family members that could have helped him in some way or the other. But he remembers that I know this person, I have never met. Their numbers are so and so and so and so.
I watched this other movie where they said, what is this country? I don't know. Everything has the price. Because now that brings me back to the issue of Section 205. I'm just talking about the move, by the way. I'm not talking about this case. Please don't associate my. So I'm now thinking out loud. So now I'm going back to this, what we call Section 205.
Mm-hmm.
It has please calls, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's say it's okay. Please call. So someone was using Ntanzi's phone. If it's not Ntanzi himself.
Because it also doesn't make sense, guys. If he says, Mjiyako, that he was called by Ntanzi's sister, all right? Remember Ntanzi's story. You know, his story is that, or his side of the story, when he said they understand and he was telling his side of the story, he said he had his sister's phone. He had meant to fix it. When they arrested him, Mohola and Mohani, they took 2 phones from him. One that belonged to him and one he said belonged to his sister. So if you're going to say his sister called you, what did his sister use to call you, number one? And his sister, where did they find out about you? That would be very interesting. It would be very interesting because I don't, it doesn't make sense, this whole thing.
Let's continue before we go crazy. Please
So
press
the
that like
state-
button, guys. Please, we are 608 people. We only have 289 likes. Please press the like button.
Guys, press the like
That's a
button.
reminder.
It doesn't cost a thing. Please go down there below and press the thumbs up, please. I would highly appreciate it. We would highly appreciate it if you can do that, guys. It helps us a lot on the channel.
Everything about this case is
It's
just
alleged.
it's just a mess, Buffett. Kelly Kumalo talked to accused number 5, according to Brigadier Gininde's testimony.
Yes.
How they communicated is a mystery. It is something
They said it's an
maybe
internet,
that could be understood
an
by the
internet
judge
call.
or whoever, but they couldn't explain on what platform. We have now Undanzi, who also, it is a mystery on how they communicated with the lawyer. It's like the lawyer could encode what Danzi was thinking through
On the
police
please
calls.
call
Like,
me.
okay, through police calls, now he says 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I mean, honestly speaking,
From receiving a please call me, no matter
when are
what
we
it
gonna
says,
wake up?
because the character limits you. It's like 10 letters that you
When
can
are we
use in a
gonna
please
wake
call
up?
me.
Because this feels like
He
a dream.
decoded exactly when Tanzi was, which police station he was at. He went there, ran, flew there.
When are we gonna? Someone saying it's Lizen's calls. Hey, when are we gonna wake up? Because this really feels like a dream, like a proper one.
It feels like a dream for us, but it's a nightmare for Tanzi. It's a nightmare.
You know, I saw him laughing.
It's a nightmare.
I saw him like it's like I was saying something like, "Hey." You know, you serious? Did you see him?
I saw his facial expressions.
He was like, yo. I was like, hey, not. I don't wanna be you.
Yeah, he probably has. Wow, it's been 4 years now. 5 years. We're going on 5 years, guys. He's been locked up.
We're talking about people's lives, like we are commentators.
He's been locked up since.
If I tell the story to my kids, once it's done and dusted, I will have to give videos to prove it.
Yes.
Which there is something like this that has
It's
ever
possible.
happened
You
before.
can
It's
get
possible.
arrested with evidence like this, and you can sit for 5 years in prison, and your bail denied with evidence like this, and then it goes to trial, and at every turn you feel like there's hope. They come and tell you that you send please call me to lawyers you don't know, allegedly. Well, the judge said that his protocol is that since the clients are charged with common purpose, what obtains for one obtains for the other, meaning that the evidence led by the state, they are jointly representing their clients, so anybody can cross-examine anybody at any time. This was after Mnisi called or asked for or requested that he would rather cross-examine after Mr. Ramosipeli, since the evidence that Mr. Sambo was testifying on mainly had to do with his client, accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi. So if Mr. Ramosipeli wants to cross-examine, the judge said he's been doing it all along. All of them have been doing it along, even Mr. Ngumalo and even Miss Mshololo, even the late Mgomezulu, you know. And I'm like, okay, I feel like whatever Advocate Mnisi was requesting flew over the judge's head because he was not asking not to cross-examine. He was asking for Mr. Ramasipili to be the first to cross-examine. That's all. I didn't think that he would make it such a big deal. But yeah, he had to remind them that common cause, as if they are lying about common cause. Isn't it common cause? Ramasipili started on behalf of accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi. I must say, I saw a very different Ramasipili today. To me, in my opinion.
He's serious.
Hi, I saw a very, I felt so proud, Nyana, a bit. Warm, a little bit fuzzy inside. I'm like, yeah, so I don't know what happened. But whatever happened, I'm happy it happened because the demeanor is there. I felt this cross-examination and I was happy with it. He started with clarifying why Sambo was called. Ramasipili said accused number 2 and the late Mr. Mgomezulu had given him instructions, and he said that he never disputed that Mjiyako was an attorney. Their version is that his client never gave Mjiyako the mandate to represent him in this case and the Tlhabani case for possession of illegal firearm. He did not receive instructions from Tanzi. That's the argument of the defense. He said, we have never submitted that Mr. Mjiyako was not an attorney. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, but social media did that.
Did the number 1 on whoever brought this guy.
So Valoy was basically answering social media in that court. Like, I also don't remember the defense questioning whether Mjiyako was a lawyer or not. And I remember feeling upset because I felt like, no, why are they duck and diving Mjiyako? Can't know. They had verified that he does have whatever number he has, so they cannot argue that he's not a lawyer or was not a lawyer in 2020. They probably had their means of finding that out, right? And they found it out.
But Waloi just gave it to the menace silver platter. Like, I will bring this one.
This is the day of social media. What if you go with social media and YouTubers? Hi God, Ramasipili said that Mjiyako can come and say how he came to represent Tanzi himself at the taking down of the confession at Boksburg Magistrate Court on the 24th of June 2020. Ramasipili said that the documents provided the confirmation of enrollment with LPC. Here, they are not being disputed. The defense counsel knew long before that Mjiyako had a practice and a practice number, according to my opinion. I feel like they had means of finding that out. So that no longer was an argument. The next level now is, did he have a mandate from Tanzi to represent him? You know? That is why they never disputed it. At the time, it didn't make sense, guys. I was upset. So the issue here is whether or not he received a mandate from Tanzi. Not that he was a lawyer in 2020. That's no longer important. Ramasipili gave the initials as MSL Skolts, and I'm hearing other people are calling the name, is it Lindsay? Lindsay or something like that. So Lizanne. So it's MSL Skolts. Now, yeah, those who can, those are the initials. Sambo confirmed that he assists legal practitioners in applying and obtaining FCCs, and Ramasipili also assisted Sambo in confirming that he works for the LPC, not the Fidelity Fund. Ramasipili also pointed out that a duplicate happens at the FFC and Sambo does not work there. Sambo confirmed that yes, the duplicate happened at FFC and he does not work at FFC. Ramasipili asked him that he assisted legal practitioners in obtaining Fidelity Fund certificates. What access does he have at the portal of the Fidelity Fund? Sambo said there are two portals that their systems offers. There's a portal where practitioners have their login credentials. They then apply the application on their side as administrators of that system. They have a system that shows all the applications that are received and the certificates that are issued, which is only limited to the officials at the LPC and the Fidelity Fund as well. So it is for them to see whether the certificates had been issued and what the certificate looks like. So they have access to that. that in his affidavit, a bona fide technical error, which means, now Ramasipile explained it to us, okay? It means it was not done in bad faith. My surprise is that you declare that it was not done in bad faith. After what investigation did you come to this determination?
Who?
The LPC, the person who keeps writing that the technical error was not in bad faith, bona fide. So Ramasipile then asked him, did you seek an explanation from the FFC itself, who is the owner of the portal, to say how come your system allocated one number for the same Fidelity Fund certificate, who doesn't even practice under the same practice or under the same name and style of practice? And Sambo said that from the email they received from Advocate Mjiyako, he then initiated contact with the system developers from the Fidelity Fund portal. He said he then received a response from the system developer indicating that it was a technical error on their system side. So Ramasipile then said, before we go forward, I don't want Mr. Baloyi to jump up and down and say, I let you come up with hearsay evidence which is inadmissible, then I would be told to lie on the bed that I made. The person that you called from FFC, if we have his name and through the state, we can ask that person to come and verify, which you have just explained. Mr. Anonymous, do you want to open the calls? Because I feel like...
No, finish it.
No, you can open the lines. I feel like our people want to call. I will finish up in between if there's nobody calling. Please open the lines.
No, people can call. But while you do that, please finish up.
Okay, please open the lines and let's hear what our family has to say, because all of these things, they've already seen it. We've already seen it. Now I'm itching to hear what people have to say, guys. You can call in. The number is scrolling down below on the screen, and we can always finish this one later. I want to hear from you. I'm eager.
Please, just keep it short.
Yeah.
Don't you want to finish?
No, open the lines. If
The
somebody
lines are
calls,
open, there's no
stop
one.
me.
Yeah.
And he can further tell us about these technical errors that occur, with which frequency they occur, if they occur at all. He says, so I'm not going to take you there. This duplication happens because during the course of this case, it was mentioned in relation to Mjiyako's involvement with accused number 2 for the boxback appearance and the taking down of confession with the magistrate, you know. So Ramasipile then asked him that Mrs. Scholz complained that she heard that her Fidelity number was being mentioned in relation to the name of Mr. Mjiyako. And then Sambo said that when this issue came to him, it was initially from Mr. Mjiyako based on the email. This is the first time that it came to his attention that there's a duplicate Fidelity number for Mrs. Scholz and Mr. Mjiyako. And Ramasipile then asked him, did Scholz complain to the LPC or they directly wrote to Mjiyako? And then Sambo said that he cannot confirm.
Zanzi, hello. Zanzi, hello. Can you hear anything?
I cannot hear anything.
Can you hear us? Right. We had callers coming in like at once. Mzansi, hello.
Hi, Misano and Sisemidi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. It has been a long time. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes. Pleasure.
Yeah, Mr. Ano, when it comes to this FFC number, I did not even understand why Baloyi is bringing this. Because this guy cannot speak about an error that happened on a system that is FFC and is from LPC. He cannot speak because he doesn't even know why there's a duplicate. The system developer must come and sit. It's just that I think it's hard for Baloy to go and look for the system developer and give him to make him do an affidavit and come and testify. It's hard for him, and it's a good thing Ramsey correctly pointed out.
Yeah.
At this rate, Baloy is going to even go and look for qualifications from the other way it is LLP and the guy. Someone confirmed that because we did not dispute that Mjiyako is a lawyer. Mjiyako is a lawyer, but he did not have a mandate to represent him. He does not have a mandate. That is the issue. And I don't know why all this FFS number. And you are correctly right. He is responding to some YouTubers or some social media where they were saying there's an issue with them. So
Honestly.
that one. And then sorry to take I meant to take you back to last week. When it comes to those AVL records, I didn't get the chance to call those AVL records. Guys, we must all remember the police car,
yes,
even though it's being driven by the policeman, but it's not owned by police. Police is leasing the car from someone else. And that someone else is the one who has got the idea that I need the car to have a tracker so that I know where is my car, what is happening in my car. The reason I'm saying so, Mr. Arno, is at my company where I work, we do have a fleet of vehicles that are branded with our name, but those cars don't belong. And there is every detail. That's why a policeman cannot come and write an affidavit that the car does not have an AVL. No, because the police guy does not own the car. How can he say the car doesn't have an AVL when he doesn't own it? We need the owner of the car, the company that owns them. If they don't have a tracker, how do they then calculate the mileage that is calculated? Remember, the mileage that is paid by police is not based on the piece of paper, the logbook. No, it's based on the actual travel.
What?
The actual, it actually records that from year to year to year. It does. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's unfortunate that those AVLs, they will tear the case for Baloy. Sorry, they will tear the case for Baloy into pieces. That's why they will never breathe. And there is no way the GTI does not have an AVL. It does have it. And there is no way even Zungu's car, it does not have an AVL. It does have it. Because call the owner of the car. Same as those Ekurhuleni Metro cars. Those cars are not owned by Mr. Arno. Can you go and check where they do repairs and maintenance for Ekurhuleni and check if the place is owned by Ekurhuleni or not? No, the car is not. It's the same. Any of these big companies, they don't want to do maintenance of the car. They just lease the car. They pay a monthly amount. The owner of the car does maintenance and make sure the car is running. They change tires, everything. They make sure the car is running. That's it. So that person is the one who has to come to court. They mean that he cannot say the car is good as AV or not, because he doesn't own the car. And in fact, if you want to go and check, I work with these things on a month-to-month basis. Even when they change a driver, Mr. Arno, it's logged. You cannot change a driver without an authorization from police. So the needs to call the guy who manages the fleet, not from police side, but an independent guy. And that independent guy must come and tell us which BMW was Belinda driving. It's very simple. You just go and look for Belinda in the database. It will tell you all the cars that he has traveled, that he has used. And then we check the date. It's very simple like that. You check the date, which car he was using that time. Not him to come and say, I was not driving a BMW. No, you can't say that. So thanks a lot, guys, for taking the call and continue doing the good job.
Let's see
where our LPC takes us. Take care.
Thank you for all that extra information.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
We still appreciate the information, like Mzan's reality. Every bit of it counts.
Yeah, today this thing abused me. Yes, let's continue.
Okay, there's nobody else calling in. Guys, the lines are opened, but I'm going to continue bringing you what I was able to put together. Okay. So then Ramasipili asked, did Skolts complain to the LPC or they directly wrote to Mjiyako? Sambo said that he cannot confirm. So didn't we hear evidence later on that Mjiyako didn't Sambo say that Miss Scholz sent a complaint with the LPC? What's along?
He did.
Why is it such a wishy-washy? Sambo is now saying that he cannot confirm that Scholz complained to the LPC. Njani manje? How come he can't confirm? So Scholz never wrote to the LPC. They never responded to Scholz to find out if she was aware that someone was using a practice number as a duplicate.
Maybe they did. He just doesn't know if there was ever a complaint like that. The question would have been, who deals with these complaints?
Who deals with the complaints? LPC. In the LPC. Who deals with the complaints? So in the email Mjiyako sent, he said Ms. Scholz laid a complaint to the LPC. So even after fixing the mistake, they still didn't let Ms. Scholz know that everything was fixed. They only let Mjiyako know, and they gave him his new FCC number. You know, Ms. Scholz has to be the most unproblematic person I've ever heard of in the law fraternity. Ramasipili then said, are you aware of cases where practitioners have colluded? And then the judge got reminded, and now he was speaking about how he was accused of colluding, and then asking him, is it the first time that you hear of this word collude? And Ramasipili was like, no, I heard it back in the day, but I'm not gonna say anything about what had happened prior. So they asked, have you ever heard of the LPC where practitioners collude with certain staff members and those practitioners obtain FFC fraudulently? And they asked, have you ever heard of that incident? And then Sambo said, no, not to my knowledge. In the event that you say it's rumors, then rumors it is. But then who said it's rumors? They're just asking you if you've ever heard of such, because you work in the LPC. I'm sure if there are cases against individuals who are accused of alleged corrupting or colluding in criminality, you would be aware of such. They're just asking you if you were aware of such cases, and you're now saying that it's rumors. Who said it's rumors? Who said anything about rumors? Well, Ramasipili responded to him with class and said, let's not speak about rumors in court. Let's leave it the way you've answered me. I'm not saying that in this incident that happened. Well, Sambo said that the number of 04415 remained with Scholz, and the name of the person that said it was a bona fide error from the FFC, Sambo gave them as Herman from the Fidelity Fund offices. He said that he will give the surname at a later stage. He is the system developer at the FFC office. And Ramasipili wrapped up his cross-examination. It was now Mnisi's turn, and he cross-examined. He started off by explaining how it came to be that they were asked about FFC numbers from the confession statements. Mnisi said that he asked what was the relevance of the FFC number on Tanzi's confession, and then he said that this is how this came to be, and then it was revealed that it was a duplicate number. Okay. And I'm like, I'm telling you guys, that FFC number is probably the reason why Miss Grenier pressed record on her laptop. I'm just saying, okay? I'm like, I can imagine her checking and it's a Scholz, and she can't even ask this person, are you Scholz or not? Because now there's EMPD officers with big guns and stuff, you know? Maybe, I don't know. I'm just imagining. So Mnisi asked Sambo if he was aware of the labor court matter where Mrs. Madonsela took LPC and 6 others on urgent application to try and hold certain proceedings against her. So this was an interdict that she was applying for. And Sambo said that he was aware of it but had not yet gone through the whole thing. And Mnisi asked him, is it so that the gist of the case evolves around disciplinary hearings which had to be instituted amongst certain employees of the LPC, including the applicant herself. So relating to the exchange of money, which included the facilitation of irregular and unlawful falsification of attorneys' audits, irregular issuing of certificates of good standing, and fidelity fund certificates. So Sambo said that he was made to believe that he would testify in relation to Mjiyako and not issues that are outside of the scope of why he was called there to testify on. He said he doesn't know if it's proper that they transcend on a possibly ongoing matter with the LPC of someone else that's not related to Mr. Mjiyako's enrollment and his records as well. So he strictly wanted to remain with testimony regarding and pertaining to Mjiyako only. He didn't want to testify on anything else. So Mnisi then said, be rest assured, we won't get into the merits of what happened to this application. It's just by way of background to the questions that are going to follow. Are you aware that there were those serious allegations against those certain employees of the LPC? Sambo said that he went through it, but not in detail as to whether the allegations leveled against some officials there. Mnisi said with this question, he was not insinuating anything. It's just an innocent question. And he said, will you agree with me that up until this point, LPC might not be in a position to tell who the beneficiaries of these corrupt schemes were and who the beneficiaries of these not so corrupt schemes were? At this point, Baloyi objected, stating that they let all unrelated questions slide. The witness has indicated that some of those matters are pending before court. The questions are outside of the scope of this witness, which made plain in the beginning that it's just about Mr. Mjiyako. But I was thinking to myself, this witness is an attorney, Mos. Why are you treating him like a layman? A lay person? No, he's an attorney. Okay, so Nisi said that it's unfortunate because he looked at this witness and he didn't see Mr. Sambo per se, the individual. He sees the LPC. And he says he did everything he did on behalf of the LPC, not his own person or personal capacity. The judge asked about the case that he was quoting of the professor from Cape Town, Umadonsela, wanting to know if it was finalized. Nisi said it was finalized at the labor court and the order was granted for this investigation to proceed against her, or the matter, it's not really the investigation, the matter to go forward against her. And she wanted to interdict on an urgent basis and she failed. I've seen this strategy being used a lot by politicians who are accused of corruption. They just file those interdicts to stop the case on an urgent basis. It's always right. I've seen them a lot. Mm-hmm. And I've never really understood what they are about. But they if you've got the money and the guap, you exercise your rights. So there is not more litigation with respect to this matter. The judges said Mnisi spoke on an appeal, and Mnisi said that there was no appeal that had been filed. So Sambo asked to read the judgment and said that he cannot proceed to answer Mnisi's questions because the LPC is still doing what it needs to do in terms of disciplinary hearings. And Mnisi said he does not want to get into the merits of the judgment. The judge stopped Mnisi from going forward with this witness with regards to this case about the disciplinary inquiry. And he said that the director is Mr. Ignatius Braille and Charity Nzunza. And the judge said Mr. Sambo signed a confidential agreement when he got employment at LPC. So he can't just go around testifying about matters of disciplinary hearings regarding the firm that he's working for. So the judge said that he's not allowed to speak on a case like this. So he basically agreed with Advocate Baloyi's objection. So Mnisi asked how could it have been possible for the portal to go back to 2020, reallocate Mr. Mjiyako this number when the complaint was made almost 4 years after.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, right?
No.
It keeps saying 2020 F139CC. This matter of duplication was only addressed like 4 years later, 2024.
Yes.
And when the new number comes back, it says 2020 at the end. Njani? How? Wasn't it supposed to say 2024?
Mzansi, hello.
Hello, Anonymous and Emily. How are you guys?
We're good,
We're
and
good.
you?
How are you?
Taking it day by day.
Yes.
I'm also not so okay
What's up?
emotionally, mentally, and otherwise.
Hang in
But
there.
I'll try.
Yes, please.
I joined your show relatively late, and I realized that you allowed calls
Yeah.
for much earlier than usual.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Whichever way you guys decide to do it, you're still doing the best job ever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It might be a lack of understanding of law from my side, and surely that will be the case because I never studied law. But maybe it's a matter that you might have addressed earlier before I joined.
Yes.
Why is it that we getting some other people to come and testify on behalf of the so-called Mjiyako and not Mjiyako himself? Is there some law that is stopping? I don't believe it should even be subpoenaed, so they refer to that concept as. But to come and testify, how did Ntanzi contact him? How did Ntanzi get hold of his contact details? Why did Ntanzi ask that he comes and actually represent him? Why is it not him who was him, that Mjiyako himself, to come and testify in court?
Did you hear the judge? Did you hear the judge saying at the end, towards the end, to Ramsipile saying, "Have you ever had an attorney that has represented the accused or represented someone coming to testify?" And then Ramsipile answered
I
that.
heard that.
That's the answer.
No,
So
but that was to say
the only people
that was to say we don't know if he's ever represented him. That has not been proven either. Because Ntanzi is denying that. So the judge himself cannot stand by that argument.
No,
Because
but
you must
at
know
the end
for a
of the
fact.
day, at the end of the day, Ntanzi must be the one to say, "Okay, I'm giving an okay." He can say that he did not represent him, but there were encounters where they were in court. Whether it was legit or not legit is another story. So it's not for the judge to determine that. From the judge's point of view, he has not relinquished that sort. He hasn't said, "Yeah, the defense." I mean, so that would only be applicable, or the guy would be available for, I think, for the defense if they want to, because he would have to say that.
I get you, Anonymous. But also, Ngomezulu has disclosed that to say in this particular court, to say that on the basis of the instruction, which was a partial response from Ramusipile right at the end that you're referring to of today's proceeding, to say that he is actually denying it. So it's already disclosed kind of evidence from Ntanzi in himself in front of this current court that we're looking at.
It's a sensitive situation.
In other words,
the judge cannot, however, rule on that. It must come from your mouth to say that client, what thinking. I'm easing that thing. So now we can, because imagine if the judge says, "Okay, you are denying," then call so and so. Then you wait for the case to finish, and you say client privilege. even if he comes, even if the state was to come and was to call him, he's still gonna go and be on a stand and say client privilege. I cannot answer that question.
Anonymous, not now sebekuthengile enjoying it. Ngiyazama.
No, until Danzi. If they want to call him, they can. But I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what the state is relying on for them to call Mjiyako. And Mjiyako.
That's a rather weak threat, though.
Which team do you think is gonna play for when he's there? There are two teams.
Well, Mjiyako.
Mjiyako will play for the state.
Okay, so you call someone who's gonna suppress your case and tell all these stories, whether you cross-examine that person or not.
My reason, my former reason for asking Anonymous that why, if the state is not cooking any evidence, then bring this person.
Yeah.
That is my reason for asking the question. Because if they have to strategize, if they are strategizing, it suggests to me yet again that they actually cooking this evidence. Because if you're telling the truth, you've got nothing to strategize about around.
Yeah.
Because all you're telling is just pure truth.
Yeah.
That I'm saying that from a legal perspective, I'm not so strong. But if you're telling the truth, whatever that happened, I can bring anyone, even a witness that is going to lie, and to say, okay, look at how the others are actually cooking the evidence. So the state, by merely choosing who to call and not to, even including Kelly herself, why hiding other witnesses in that house?
They will tell you they don't need them to actually make their case. That's what they are saying.
Because
they can prove their case beyond.
Ukeli will deny having had contact with accused number 5 also.
You see? Exactly. The same reason why the state looked at Kelly and said, no, we cannot bring Kelly. She will make our case weaker because she will denounce this thing. So it's the same reason that should not call Mjiyako.
That for me is a proof enough that then the state is cooking evidence. If you're choosing not to call certain witnesses, what informs them to so not call the big man?
I think you are too innocent. As much as this, we are told that the main aim there is to find the truth. Rest assured, the primary aim is to win. That 100% conviction that Baloyi has, do you think he's willing to forfeit that?
He doesn't look like he's.
Doesn't look like that, right? That's why we're gonna have even soldiers coming to testify.
Not soldiers.
I thought the word justice meant something else.
Not in that court.
I used to think like that too, but when I realized everything that is happening in this cause, I realized that it's all about winning. That's why these people have this, what do we call it? When you are too big, you think you are too big than other people. They have that thing. It's about winning. Yes, the more you win, the more you become less arrogant. So if you lose, obviously, even you can.
So we don't have a justice system then.
Yeah, we have people playing games using you as the person who's there, and then whoever wins. And that's why they are able during the breaks to talk. It's like a football game. You guys could be fighting each other on the stand.
Thank you emails and not knowing what he was thinking.
And then he comes to court, he's like, hey.
Okay.
It's a game. As much as
I will take it down for today, but I'm gonna be back.
Okay.
I'm not happy with what is going on, but please continue doing the good job, guys.
Yes.
And in a perfect world, the state would call Mjiyako. In a perfect world.
In a perfect world.
Yes, the state would have long called him to come and confirm. Yes, I was there. Yes, Ntanzi called me. Yes, he even paid me. But do you think that would be wise?
Then in a perfect world, actually, more so in a perfect world, the state would have called Kelly Kuman.
Yes, in a more perfect world.
You know.
If this justice system was justice system. Right now, I don't know what it is. It's something
I don't know,
else.
guys.
I don't know. Like, I don't know why it's like a cat and mouse.
When you hear this judge reading his own history of how he was devouring people there in terms of law and writing things, and he was there. You can tell it's all about the glory at some point.
The ego.
And then you have normal people who are sitting here thinking, oh, this is what should happen.
This court should be able to prove my innocence.
For example, Piri should have been in the list of the people that were going to be called. In fact, top list.
Yes.
But she was never called.
Never called. And the
we have heard of Piri, the involvement of Piri on the theory there, just there and there. That's it. It ends there.
Yeah.
So we have many people that we think they should have been called, but they were not called. And you tell me that it's all about law and what is right and what is wrong. It's a chess game.
So another question I had, right, was what would be the cause of an attorney using another attorney's Fidelity Fund certificate number? Okay. And it says here that an attorney using another attorney's Fidelity certificate number in South Africa would be... Hello.
Zanzi, hello.
Hey, Anonymous.
Hi, sir, how are you?
Ninjan.
Sikona, for it.
Is this the right number to call it?
Yes.
It is. It is.
Oh, okay. I know. Ngisakubonge ukuthi ni size ngaleli qala. Ngoba manje emini malidala sisemsebenzini abaningi.
Awu Nkosi yami.
Kodwa ke Mr. Anonymous, ngiyanguzwa ukukhuluma la ukuthi unalo ulwazi lezinto zamakhompyutha kancane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, mina ngathuka nje ngizalabo abade belokubeza la bezokhuluma bekhuluma ukuthi ukudownloada yini ukudownloada nani.
Yeah.
Umuntu ogetha ngithi terminology kodwa wenza into ebucayi kanje. Hayi. Nalo mfana lo ade ekhuluma nje namhlanje.
Okay.
Yabo le ndaba ka system developer.
Yeah.
Hey, ngivela ngabonja lo. Uzodidisa la ulokhu ezenza into etheni nikwazi ukuthi system developer into abantu ezobathusa.
Yeah.
Like system developer.
In a nutshell, it's just people who are miserable in their lives, waiting for anything that could happen on the system of a company, and that must be reported by the people that use it. So in this case, it was not reported in time, so they did not say.
We work ngalezinto Anonymous.
Yes.
Embassy. You know ukuthi user my fear kuwe ngizokutshela ukuthi manje I can't do this. Show. You say, oh no, I just have to reload your machine and do updates.
Yeah.
Just to get them, away from. So, lendo system developer, system developer. Something is not right. But anyway,
it's very scary what happened during that day and unusual for the system. Normally a system would crack and everyone would have problems.
Yeah.
But in this situation, only one user. I'm very interested in how they are going to explain the problem, the incident that happened, what caused it, what happened, how are they gonna
Explain
it. What are they going to say? They applied together at the same time and they pushed the button, submit at the same time, but still the system should be able to pick
There's no
one.
way.
So
There's no way.
How are they going to explain it?
Ngisho number anonymous increment, ne? It's increment. When you log in, when you register, it increments maybe by 1, by 3.
Yeah.
You can click nobody. There's no way you could speak. Say if you're using a MacBook or HP or whatever tool where you're gonna write data into whatever table in a database, it's gonna be the same.
No,
there's no way.
There's no way.
Like I can tell you, there are people who are, like, for an example, who are issuing vouchers. Maybe you get some store, you get a voucher, and there's no way that it's gonna be the same as somebody else.
No.
You can even use a simple thing as Google and say, Google, give me something that I'm gonna issue 100 vouchers.
Yes.
Google, you don't need a system developer for that. Google will give you and will issue whatever random, like incremental or whatsoever.
Yes.
Or round robin numbers, but it's not gonna be the same.
That is true. So the API that will be pushing, obviously, is going to be able to take one at a time. So it is created like that, to take one whether you send together. It would rather have a queue of people of data coming in, but all of it's not gonna come as a group. It's gonna come one at a time. No.
No. But there's a system developer
with a bit of arrogance.
So I'm sure mine is that system developer. Yeah.
So where are they gonna get this Herman? Because I have a feeling that Herman is neither here or there, but he must come.
They'll subpoena him.
Because a system developer, that okay. Firstly, even if the system developer is a person who supports that system, sitting wherever in the building, it's like in-house support.
Yeah. Maybe
they write scripts here and there, but they're not gonna answer the question of saying, okay, now there's a problem. What happened? So whoever that they bought the system or whoever that supplied the system, which means he must be called and say, okay, according to my coding, when it got here, then it's duplicated. But there, we're expecting 10 or 50 or hundreds of those duplications that must happen.
Yes.
Unless they say, now and then we get 3 or 4 duplications in a month.
But also the system updates, and normally you truncate. You recreate that to check if there's something like that. You deal with it right there and there. So it's not like we're talking about a system that is stationary, just waiting for a year to end and then updates after that. That would be the most outdated system ever.
I want the system developer. I'm not system developer. Anyway, it's been years now.
Thank you.
I'm sure Emily might book my video like a year ago. I
can't even look at them. I'm like, yo.
If you guys know how difficult to actually listen to your own voice, it's
very hard to watch yourself and listen to yourself. Oh my God, I cringe.
I know.
Thank you. Sibonge kakhulu. Hey, Slindu Herman.
Slindu Herman.
Bafethu, let me take this time and say thank you to everyone who was here.
Let me read something here. An attorney using another attorney's Fidelity Fund certificate number in South Africa would be engaging in extremely serious misconduct with severe legal, professional, and potentially criminal consequences. This action directly undermines the integrity of the legal profession and the protection afforded to the public. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Niyaphila njani?
Siyaphila njani wena mfethu? Hey.
No. Sibonge nje ichaza la khona ngaleli cala.
Yeah.
No, bengifuna nje ukudlulisa nami ukuthi kuningi ongesile iqiniso kuleli cala. Njengoba nisho nje lani hayi ijustice kunzima ukuthi siyibone kuleli cala. Ngoba mawungakhumbula nje kahle njengoba uGininda nje sekade kwi-stand bammisile manje uGininda utestifying indaba ka-Absolute Zungu. Kodwa u-Absolute Zungu ulo uRamesipili wakwambuza ulo Constable Zungu ngendaba kababa wakhe ukuthi yazi mhlobo wakhe wakwasenza statement esikhona statement esenziwe ubaba wakhe. Constable Zungu wadinaya lento walwa nje hayi akayazi nalonto le. The only thing ayaziyo ukuthi ubaba wakhe weza ezo confirm indaba ye-address ukuthi wahlala khona ngoma yini. Ayikho into eyi-statement owayenza but manje uGininda ulokhe relaya kwi-statement ethi esika-Absolute Zungu senziwa Absolute Zungu futhi uZungu Constable washo wathi ubaba wakhe uyena watshela ubaba wakhe ngendaba yaleli cala. Akusikho ukuthi yena watshela ubaba wakhe ukuthi i-conflict yayenzeka phakathi kukaMuzi noMafika. So nje mawuthi uyayibheka kahle umnisi njengoba ecela nje ukuthi ufune ebuye uZungu ungathi ngaqinisa lapho umnisi ukuthi hayi sine-information ecele i-transcript kaRamesipili beyifunde ukuthi wathini uZungu before eqhubeke noGininda sekunoZungu wathi uZungu kanje wena uthi unokuhlukana kulezo statement enishoyo uZungu wathi yena akakwazi ukuthi wena uqhamuka ukuthi kodwa i-statement wasithatha kubaba kaZungu which uZungu wayetshela ubaba wakhe kanti uZungu yena uyena owathi yena watshela ubaba wakhe.
Yeah.
So nje lento inalokho nikusho ukuthi hayi akunalo iqiniso lelicala it's just that umuntu uyayiprotecta ufuna ukuwina owinawo uyawina odliwayo uyadliwa
njalo.
Kube kanjalo. Hayi siyabonga ngimdlulisa lo mbono.
Siyabonga.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yebo. Ake ngenze kanjena manje. Sizwe sibonge kakhulu member. Chuku Anna, thank you for ever being present. Laura, our member, thank you. Vusuthando Maqhubane, thank you. Siyabonga. Brenda Ngema, siyabonga. K Bigwayo, siyabonga. Muzwakhe Radebe, siyabonga. Ansi K Moya moderator, thank you. Mduduzi Ronald Shongwe, siyabonga kakhulu. Siba, siyabonga kakhulu. Muhurutse, our member, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Sehlanjalo, uholoko, kuyashesha. Maria Tubela. Miriam Tubela, sorry. Siyabonga kakhulu. Xolani Mbanza, siyabonga. Sehlanje kancane Dipuo sibonga kakhulu. Thank you our member. Tutuza I've mentioned Ndumo Mncube. Thank you. Siyabonga kakhulu Ndumo. Nombeko Valashia. Valashia. Siyabonga kakhulu. Ngixolele ngubhusharisha igama lakho. Ngizama ukulithola kahle. Osep Nzonzi, thank you Osep, all the way from Zambia. Mduduzi, okay, Mduduzi, I've mentioned you, your Dokas Shabalala, thank you. Siyabonga. Teboho Komane, siyabonga. Kabsile Ulu, siyabonga. Njalo sehlanjalo siyabonga nje everyone. If I've jumped you, ngixolele. Backward mechanic, our member, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Bakona bathola ngapha email zwazwazwa, thank you very much, we appreciate you. Zugo M, thank you, siyabonga. No SA Consulting, thank you. Mrs. K, thank you. Sehlanjalo uholoko konde ngiphazamisayo. Sihametse, thank you, we appreciate you. Kunzima people are Magaye Jakey, thank you. Ambrose Mbata, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Ngobe Media Technology, thank you. Andy Mjiyako, thank you. Siyabonga. Pududu, thank you. Siyabonga. Smam Kwena, thank you. Hayi bafowethu, hayi mangakushongo so ngixolela. Lindiwe siyabonga. Usizwe, I've mentioned you. Sugar, I've mentioned you. Kilebohile, our member, thank you. Hayi bafowethu, asivalela.
Asivala, I'm hearing
Thank you.
noises outside. Guys.